Hello everyone, I'm Leslie. I normally present the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast. This month we're doing things a little differently. This is an additional episode. I'm taking a month off work and going out and about to various places. So this is more of a vlog of what I'm up to. The knitting, crochet, yarn craft stuff I will keep on the Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast. But this is not quite about yarn because it'll be my travels, not that I'm even leaving the country, but the places that I go to, the things that I see and do, and also the other craft stuff that I do. So like I said, it'll be a sort of vlog format, almost in a diary form, but I hope you enjoy it. If you're not interested in this, completely understand. Like I say, all the knitting and crochet stuff is over on the main episode, and I'll try and put a link into that. This YouTube stuff is very confusing for a simple soul like me. But thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoy this episode. It's Saturday the 1st of September and I've come with my mate to an alpaca farm open day. Look at them! They are just beautiful. That is walking yarn right there. I'll be honest, they smell a bit, but they might feel that way about me. So
I think that one's rolled in a bit of
unpleasantness.
Yeah.
Which one are we looking at?
That black one.
They've all been shorn, but I'm not buying the yarn. Oh, okay then. Please yourself.
There's a pony over there. Hello.
Now look what you're doing to them. That one with the two-tone haircut's cute.
Yeah.
Aren't they beautiful?
I like the grey with the black one, yeah. Oh, there's one here.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's stupid because every single one of them is
He's adorable. Yeah.
Especially when they've got some coat. And I
Just had to come around the corner to have a look because that yellow tag on his ear, we thought it was his eye and we thought it was a toy sheep, but there we go. How cute are these? Hopefully from here you can see what we mean and why we got confused. Now at this farm they also have donkeys. They say they're miniature but they don't look that small to us, but we're easily confused. And if I can get round to it, some llamas as well. That one's eating, so he's less interesting. But, not as cute as the alpacas. Oh, there he is. That's a better view of him.
had a stroke.
Do I need to call an ambulance?
With Gracie. Right, I'm going to take issue here.
Okay.
That's just a donkey, isn't it?
Well, maybe these aren't the miniature donkeys. Maybe these are just the bog standard regular donkeys.
But they said they've got miniature ones.
Well, careful who you take it up with. You don't want to make an ass of yourself.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to stay here. Why don't you do a circuit round? He's quite pleased to see us.
Oh.
Don't put that in your video, whatever you do.
Hello, Poppy. You've got a fab haircut. Yeah, your mane is amazing.
Oh, look, he's got glitter in his tail.
And in his mane, yeah. Oh, you are a sweetheart.
Oh, you haven't got glitter, have you?
Hello, Hobbit.
Yeah, they do. Look at you.
Oh, Anton is a year old, bless him. And his mate Tommy is eating all the hay. If it wasn't for the fact that Anton was blinking, I wouldn't know that he was actually alive. He's not doing a lot. There he goes. Oh.
Oh, how cute is that?
You never do that to me.
You're obviously not sending out the right message.
Sure.
I've got no answer to that.
Right, that's a first.
Are you getting a little brown one?
Yeah. So gorgeous. Okay, now this is not a common looking alpaca, because he looks more like a Pyrenean mountain dog to me, but he's a beauty. So after a morning at the alpaca farm, which was great, I decided to colour the grey in my hair. I really am having a month off, aren't I? It's gone a little more orange than I was expecting. I thought it would be more towards the pink side of red, but it's going to wash out in a few weeks anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And I'm about to get ready. We're drumming this evening. It's the first bonfire of the season, and we're involved in a carnival and then bonfire procession. We're not burning things, we're just part of the procession. So I'm about to put all my red and black stuff on. I'll show you a pic. So here's the makeup bit done. And when I see myself with a lot of makeup on and slightly red hair, I think it's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes control. Right, the outfit is now almost complete, with just one final addition. My hat lights up! It's going to be dark later. Got to light the way. Take care. Well, here I am looking gorgeous, because that's the procession over. It's just coming up to 11:30. It's been a long evening, but it's been good fun. Having a cuddle from a dog now, because... Where are you? Just move the camera to show you. This is what I've come home to. Yeah, it's been good fun. The procession was quite long. We were marching and drumming for a couple of hours, it felt like. There was a bit of a break in a pub that had no beer and not many staff, and they were obviously a bit underprepared to have an arrival of a troupe of drummers. Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. We drummed pretty well, which is good. It was a torchlight procession, and obviously because I was in it, I couldn't really film it, but I have taken a couple of stills when we were just sort of waiting to get a sense of how it was. And it was excellent fun. There was one moment which shouldn't be funny but is, because they had a memorial to those who'd lost their lives during the First World War. And it was quite moving actually, because they had a load of people with torches, and they read out a list of all the people all the soldiers and others who'd died during 1914-18, and as each name was called, they extinguished a torch. So that was very moving. Until one of the soldiers was mentioned, whose name was Harry Potter. And the lady I was standing next to, and I just looked at each other and went, and we heard this voice behind us, "Don't laugh." So we didn't. But yeah, it was good fun. Makeup just looks pretty horrendous now. A bit of a mess, but that's to be expected. I'll get the micellar water out and clear all that off. And yeah, go to bed pretty soon. because tomorrow I'm out again with my mate Mandy, who I was out with today. We're going to a garden tomorrow, so I'll put in a bit of footage of that. Hello, it's the 2nd of September. I've had about 5 hours sleep, can you tell? Don't know why, just woke up early, couldn't get back to sleep, and the sun is shining. I'm off out with my friend again today, same friend I was out with yesterday. I will put some makeup on before I go out. Don't want to frighten people. Yes, it's a beautiful day out there. Take the dog out in a minute. I don't know if I've really talked about the reason for taking a month off. And it's good old-fashioned depression. It's something I've suffered with on and off for a lot of years. This year, it's been different actually. Usually my depression tends to go towards sort of a mania almost, a fraught, must do all the things. And this year it's been more of a kind of classic definition of depression, I suppose, in that everything has felt suppressed and down and just haven't been able to get much energy and enthusiasm for anything. I think a number of external factors have contributed to that, but sometimes it just happens. I remember speaking to my doctor years ago about, well, why do I keep getting depression? And he said, well, some people keep getting ear infections. You know, there's just this imbalance, and this is how it manifests itself in me. And it's one of those things that when you say to people, oh, I've been suffering with depression for years, they say, oh, so have I. But, you don't introduce yourself as, hello, my name's Leslie, I'm depressive. You just don't do it. Certain things help. The drumming really helps, actually, because it's good fun. They're a nice crowd of people. It's hitting things. So that all helps. But you can't do those things all the time. You can see a movie that makes you smile, you can spend time with a friend, but you can't do these things 24 hours a day. So you need to touch on the root cause and try and get that sorted. So that's my hope for this month, really. I'm basically signing myself off sick in the hope that I'll have a bit of downtime, a bit of time away from death and dying, because the reality is, although I don't find my work depressing it's often very sad, but mostly when you're dealing with funerals, you're dealing with love, and that's very uplifting. People are sad because they're missing someone, and they're missing someone because they love them, So yeah, that's not as much of a downer as you might think, but I think there is this accumulative effect of, I've done 1,800 funerals, so that's 1,800 grieving families that I've dealt with and been privileged to deal with, but I just feel like I need some time away from them. So that's why the month off. All the dog's getting fidgety, so I must take her out for a walk, and you'll have footage later of a garden that I'm going to with my friend. She's a very keen gardener. I am a very poor gardener. So most trips around garden centres involve me saying, oh, I had one of those, but it died. Oh yeah, that doesn't do well in my garden. Oh no, I killed one of those. So I probably won't be buying many plants, but hopefully we'll be looking at a nice garden. It's looking at the website, it looks very interesting. So we're doing that. Catch you later. We're at the gardens as promised. And these have to be the largest dahlias that I have ever seen.
Do you want me to stand next to it to get a perspective of how big it is?
You're already in it, hon. Planted. This is a prairie garden, so it's planted in huge swathes of colour, as you can see here.
I want it, but my God, this is just incredible. Look at the berries.
Yeah. Any idea what it is?
I haven't got the colours.
No, me neither. It's pretty.
Very weird. Sorry. Okay.
I've just noticed actually the colour of the stem.
Yeah, and look how pink it is as it's going down.
Yeah. Up Sunday the 2nd. It's only 5:25, but I've done all the exciting stuff for today. Only the ironing to go. Woohoo! Yeah, it's been a lovely day. Never been to a garden like that before, where everything is planted on such a huge scale. It's a bit of a trek away from us. It's over an hour's drive. But we have said we'd like to go back. It was very, very busy because they had a plant fair on. There were lots and lots of people there, so we'd like to go back and have a better look at the garden itself on just a regular day rather than a specific event. Yeah, so we were there a couple of hours. We then stopped for a bit of lunch on the way home, where I got stung by a wasp. I can't remember the last time I got stung, so that was quite sore, but seems to have gone off now, thankfully. And just chillaxing for the rest of the Sunday. Take care. Good morning. It's Thursday the 6th of September. It's silly early o'clock. I'm in a tunnel, that's the only reason why it's so dark. I'm on the train to Scotland, the first of several trains to my destination. Apologies for the wet hair, looking very attractive. It was all a bit of a rush. Yes, haven't done much last 3 days, just kind of same old, same old. We've been having some work done in the house, so I've been mostly making tea for Rob, who's been doing the work, and working on my great-niece's hoodie, which I'll show you very briefly here, but I'll talk about more on the crafting podcast. Excuse the train noises, we're just braking as we go round a bend and come out of a tunnel and I don't know what. But yeah, on my way to Scotland for a 3-day intensive meditation course, which I will hopefully show you some footage of the journey. I won't show you much footage of the course because it's a kind of no news, no shoes place, but I will show you some footage of the journey, because when you go up through the north of England and into Scotland, the scenery is normally pretty nice, so I'll put some of that on the video. Got to get through London first, of course, but we'll do what we can. There it is, the famous platform 9 3/4, and this is the queue of people waiting to have their photograph taken there. Shan't be joining them today. about to start a 3-day silent retreat, which will come as a shock to anyone who knows me. So the phone's going off for 3 days, and I'll let you know how it goes on the way out. Not nervous at all then. So I'm here in London. Decided to stay in London overnight. This is the view from my hotel. I'm on the 5th floor. It would have meant the last train home, and had I missed a connection, which was looking very likely at one point, I had a bit of a interesting journey. Had I missed a connection, I'd have been a little bit stuck. So decided to stay in a good old Travelodge in Southwark, and this is the view when I opened the curtains this morning. I'll try and show you a bit of footage as I walk to the station, but as I'm got my suitcase and got other bags, there won't be a lot of footage, just a bit, hopefully the interesting stuff. There's no hairdryer in this place that I can see. There's also no remote control for the TV, which wasn't a problem because I wasn't here to watch telly, but I will just report it in case I think I've decided that I wanted it as a souvenir. It's been an interesting few days. Very difficult at times, very intense. It was billed as an intense retreat, and more intense than retreat, I think, although certainly it was an escape from the world. Beautiful location, absolutely stunning. I'd never really understood what fresh air meant until I went to that bit of Scotland. Just the quality of the air felt completely different. Sorry, I'm just moving around. Strange hair this morning, I apologise. The quality of the air felt completely different. Before the cab came yesterday to take me to the station, I was outside. I wanted to breathe lungfuls of it because I knew I couldn't bring it home. So stunning location, really full-on course. It was odd because I felt really tired, but then when I got here last night, and it was probably about 11 before I went to bed, so I'm trying to not mess up the light with the window. So I thought I'd be straight to sleep when as soon as my head hit the pillow last night, and sorry, I just moved because the light was a bit strange. And that wasn't the case. I really struggled to get to sleep. I tried listening to some music, couldn't put the TV on because of the remote control situation. Eventually went off, and I'd set my alarm for 8 o'clock this morning because I didn't know how late I would sleep. This retreat, you started at quarter past 6 in the morning, and you finished about 11 o'clock at night. So it was fairly full on, and there wasn't a huge amount of respite in the day. So I was expecting to just be zonked. But I woke up at, it was 20 to 8, so that's late for me. But given how tired I thought I would be, not so much as you'd think. So onwards, be glad to get home and pick the dog up this afternoon. See what my house looks like, because the hall and stairs are being decorated at the moment. I spoke to hubby yesterday and asked how it was going. He said, it's quite bright. I said, too bright? Will it be okay once the pictures are up on the... Yeah, I think it'll be all right, he said. But we're going from a sort of mushroomy sort of colour to hopefully a pale lilac-y sort of colour. So it is going to be brighter, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I hope I still don't think it's a bad thing when I see it in about 4 hours' time. So yes, just finished my cup of tea, make sure I haven't left anything here, and then off to Waterloo. Waterloo. No, don't sing, Leslie, don't sing. I'm opposite the Old Vic Theatre, and it's a very important theatre in British stage stuff, but it puts me on the horns of a dilemma, because if I'm here, I know that I'm very close to Aynit in Lower Marsh, and if I go to Aynit, there is a danger that I will break my vow to myself, or bayan as we call it. Looking at the time, I don't think they're open yet. I don't think they're open till 10, and I'll be honest, I'm not going to check in case they open earlier. I'm just going to keep another song. Welcome back. Why am I singing so much today? I can only apologise. Not for the first time at Waterloo. Someone is about to say, "C'est magnifique, mais ce n'est pas la guerre," or la gare. Because I'm now going to walk through to Waterloo East to get my train home. I have some very important business to do. Blinking starving. A bit disappointed that this platform cafe is now a Starbucks. It used to be something else which was cheaper and a bit better, but needs must. So on my way home, leaving Waterloo, leaving that hot chocolate behind, actually, it was disgusting. I really didn't like it at all, that's a shame. But soon to be heading home to my dog.
The next station is London Bridge.
Well, there you go. I don't need to give you a commentary because the announcer is doing it for us. Not always the prettiest of view, it has to be said. But we are quite high up, so that makes sense. Seeing the tops of buildings. I was being a good meditator when I was waiting to find out which platform my train was on. I took the opportunity to meditate for a while, or to at least relax and deep breathe. So hopefully I can carry on doing things like that and help put all the good stuff I've learned into practice. Regular practice, that's the key. Hopefully you can see some pools in the background in a minute. There you go. And right here we have Southwark Cathedral. Cathedral is a church that got promoted, so it's not grand like some other cathedrals. In the last 20 years we've had some fairly funky buildings built in London. It's as if the architects have found a geometry playset. It occurs to me that if I wanted to cheat on timelines on this month's vlog, I couldn't, because my hair colour is fading each day as I wash it. And I'm actually looking forward to going back to grey. I'm kind of done with the red thing. That didn't take long, did it? So today is Wednesday, the 12th of September. And I have been a bit remiss with this vlogging malarkey, partly because I haven't done much. After getting home on Monday, I was just kind of pottering around the house. We've been having our hall and stairs decorated, as I've mentioned, and because Rob the painter has been here, then I've been kind of just pottering around at home. I did manage to finish the first of the 2 hoodies that I'm making, the crochet one for my great niece. I got all the pieces finished before I went away, and I have now sewn them up, so I shall put a picture in here of the said hoodie, and I'll talk about it at more length on the regular Knitting Crochet Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast. Also been working on the second hoodie, the one for my great nephew, and mostly I've been kind of churning over the weekend, or processing the process, as I like to rather pretentiously call it. And it's made me kind of stop and think a bit. I did do a bit of polymer clay work the other day. I will be doing some more, so you'll be seeing that in more detail. And I'll talk you through the bits and pieces that I'm doing if anyone's interested. But I'm beginning to have a bit of a thought process as to why I'm making the things that I am. And I'm beginning to wonder if I'm making them purely because I think they'll sell, rather than because I'm enjoying the process of making them. There's also that sense I've got all this stuff and I must use it up. I must clear down my stash of all my stuff. Not quite sure where that's coming from, but it's all part of this thought train. So I'm having a bit of a crisis of confidence, I guess. I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's evening time, it's just gone 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm going to carry on knitting the second hoodie tonight and go all Scarlett O'Hara on myself and think about it tomorrow. But it's just stopped me in my tracks a bit, and I've got to think about, do I enjoy the things that I'm making and hope that they'll sell? Or am I trying to make them to sell? Nothing wrong with either approach. But this is a hobby for me. It's not my living. So I need to make sure I'm enjoying what I'm doing rather than putting pressure on myself. The painting work should be finished kind of during the day tomorrow. And that is creating a bit of an opportunity for me once it's done. The guy has been storing his ladders and stuff like that in my office. In my office? That's my little sanctuary, and it's full of ladders and crap at the moment. So once all his stuff's gone, I'm going to take the opportunity to have a good clean down, because obviously where he's been sanding down paintwork, there's dust everywhere. But also to have a bit of a sort out. I am quite cluttered in that room, which is also the room I record the podcast in usually. One half of it is my office and one half of it is yarn and craft. And there's a drum kit in the corner, but anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to try and declutter that a bit and have a bit of a tidy, sort out, and kind of get everything a bit straight. I sometimes can't see the wood for the trees, and I think that's because I have so much wood, or so many trees, I don't know which, but yeah, I just need to sort that out a bit. So today, had a nice day, went with a friend of mine to see my dad. He bought lunch, which was very kind of him. Went to a pub. He lives in Canterbury, which I grew up just outside Canterbury. But we didn't really go out and about much apart from to the pub and back. He then gave me loads and loads of vegetables. He has an allotment. And he said, would you like this, would you like that? And suddenly I'm coming home with trays of vegetables. My friend who came with me also came home with loads of stuff. She and her husband are both vegetarians, so they will probably make better use of this stuff than himself and I. Rich likes vegetables. I don't eat green food or anything healthy, so I'll be making up lots of things for him. should I think? I didn't take any footage because I wanted to just kind of enjoy the day, not observe the day. So apologies that there isn't a lot of footage and you just got me rambling on, but that's what I do. I don't know what to say to that, apart from that's what I do. So yes, tomorrow I will have a think about the stuff I'm making. Make sure I'm enjoying the creative process rather than churning out stuff on a production line sort of mentality. Hopefully meeting a friend for lunch tomorrow, but that may be postponed. I'm waiting to hear from her. And onwards and upwards. Well, if red sky at night means shepherd's delight, we're going to have an amazing day tomorrow. The camera sadly isn't showing it as brightly as I would like, but the sky is a beautiful pink colour, absolutely gorgeous. And that's my husband sneezing. Bless you. Okay, now this is quite a familiar view, but I'm going to do a sweep of shame and show you the rest of the room, because part of it's decorating stuff which will be gone tomorrow, but part of it is the clutter which has grown over the last few weeks. And so today, which is Thursday the 13th, I'm going to have a good sort out and a tidy up and try and get rid of some of this nonsense and put things away, because there is stuff all over the shop. My sewing machine isn't upside down, it's just the boxes over it to stop it getting dusty. This will all be gone tomorrow, so that's all good. But every available bit of space seems to be full of clutter and stuff that I need to really tidy up. So it's time to get a damp cloth to take things off shelves. Got a dustbin sack there because it's time to... oh, there's my drum kit, that's cool. It's time to have a bit of a tidy. There's that yarn I dyed. I think it's finally dry now. There's Enid wearing a pirate hat, as you do. So time to have a sort out and to get things organised. As the explorer said, I may be some time. Right, now I'm trying this from a new angle with my new exciting tripod that my friend Mandy bought me, or rather her cat Florence bought me, because we had a couple of vet runs. So thank you very much, Florence. I have been tidying up today. I've been a good girl and I've cleared my desk, so I now have room for more clutter stuff. And what I'm going to do for the next 20 minutes or so is make some combined stitch markers and progress keepers. I've never really understood why it's always been one or the other. I use both, a lot of crafters use both, and so when I've made them in the past, I haven't made many but I've done a few, I've used these little charms that I've picked up fairly inexpensively in a local shop. So there have been a few different designs, different things. But I've had playtime as I've not been working, so I've made some pieces out of polymer clay. I will make some more, but these are the ones I have so far, and I'm going to assemble them into stitch markers and progress keepers. So I need a ring, a lobster claw, a split ring to assemble everything onto, and the piece that I'm going to actually use. So I'm going to do a little red heart, and very simple, the assembly part. So open up the split ring and just slot everything onto it. So the charm, the stitch marker ring, which is now on the floor, I'll get that in a second. The next stitch marker ring and the lobster claw, and then close up the ring. And actually closing the ring can often be the trickiest part because you want to give it a nice tight finish, and you don't want the stuff coming off or it to catch on your knitting or your crochet work. So that can often be the hardest bit, as I'm demonstrating beautifully by making a bit of a pig's ear of it, but we're not doing too badly, I suppose. And as these polymer clay pieces are a little thick, I'm going to sit the join of the ring inside them, so that will be an extra secure thing. So here is my finished piece. We've got a little heart. I'll hold it up against a piece of paper, hopefully it will show better. So we've got a heart, we've got the ring to use around the knitting needle, and the lobster claw to use as a progress keeper for either knitting or crochet. So I'm going to carry on with that for the next 20 minutes. Playtime continues. Well, this is unexpected for my month off. I'm back at the crematorium. Not working. Not even attending a funeral as a friend or relative, thankfully. Well, thankfully for me. But I'm here as a drummer. The gentleman who's died is a local good man. He's done a lot for the town. A lot of things to help tourism. Very interested in local history, very knowledgeable, and sadly he's died. And his wife has asked our drumming group to drum him in. So no face paint today. We have toned it down. I am in black and red, our team colours, but we're toning it down in terms of face paint. We're going to let our noise do the talking today, I think, rather than being terribly over dramatic. So that's why I'm here. I'm here quite early because this man was very well known, very popular. A large congregation is expected, so I'm actually about quarter of an hour here before all the drummers are meeting, and that's half an hour before the ceremony starts. But I know my way. I know the best places to park, so I'm here nice and early. So yes, hopefully it will go well. It'll only be a short piece of drumming, but hopefully we'll pay our respects to the gentleman and see him off in a fitting fashion. It's Saturday morning. I have a day ahead of me, and I'm going to try some sewing today. So I've printed this pattern off the internet, how to sew a fully lined drawstring bag with flat bottom. It's by Kristin Omdahl, and it's a free pattern. Can't remember where I found it, but if I can remember, I'll put the link in the information bar, and we'll see how we go. What no one ever tells you is that sewing is as much about ironing as it is about stitching things together. So I've cut my two pieces, or four pieces rather, and the smaller ones I've pressed as described. So now I have to fold the side edges 1/2 inch and sew. Which side inches? Oh, these ones, I guess. Oh, this isn't starting well, is it? So I sewed over the ends of the drawstring pieces by hand. It didn't seem worth firing up the machine for, but now I've sewn them on, got the beast out and sewn them on. So the next stage is to form the bag shape. Now we're on to complicated ironing again. I've got to fold it and press it and Oh, it's going to get confusing. Keep me covered, I'm going in. Am I making a bag or a bishop's mitre? It's hard to tell. It looks very much like a bishop's hat at the moment. I'm sure it will all make perfect sense. Right, so we're now on to a slightly scary bit. The sewing equivalent of steeking, where I have to cut off the top of my mitre. Scary. I do love the noise of scissors against a table. I'm not sure what that says about me, but I do. Right, lovely people, here is my completed project. So it's a small project bag. It does stand up. There's a ball of yarn in it to give it a bit of bulk. I did make a rather fundamental mistake in that I put the casings for the drawstring on the wrong side of the outer fabric. It said put it on the external lining, and I thought it just meant the external lining fabric, not the outside of the cover, so the right side of the fabric. So I've had to do a little bit of jiggery pokery just to make sure that it can still work with a drawstring, but it can, so I'm quite pleased with that for a first effort. It's taken me a couple of hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. But for a first attempt and reading all the instructions, I'm quite happy with that. So I've got myself what Chevy Rail would call a ball sack. I can't do her accent, I apologise, Chevy. Whilst I'm here and the trusted sewing machine is out, I'm going to do one last job. We have a tower fan in the bedroom, and it's only used for a few months of the year, so the rest of the time it needs a cover, and I've tended to sling an old pillowcase over it. But I'd like to just neaten that up a bit by using an old pillowcase. We've got some that have been sadly eaten by dogs. Well, just one dog, you've met her. So I'm just going to seam down the seam down the middle lengthways, and trim the edge, and then that will hopefully fit over the fan nicely. Right, so here is the fan, and hopefully I haven't made this too small. Oh, very neat. Ha 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 ha. That should stop that getting dusty. Marvellous. I'm going to go to Hastings Seafood and Wine Festival. I don't particularly like seafood, I don't drink wine, but they have other stuff, and it's lunchtime. So I'm going to go and see what they've got and get myself something scrummy for lunch and get out in the sunshine, because it's a beautiful day out there. Be a shame to spend it all indoors. Ready, thank you.
Good quality. And now there's someone starting up with like, you don't know when they're working.
Ice cream.
It's also one of the more comfortable places to stand on a sunny day. And nice and cold. Ah, right. You're about to see, I think.
Right, so we've got this sauce inside.
Oh, there we
Going
go.
up or a little more?
I've just been editing the video up to the 15th of the month, and we're nearly an hour long. And when I see podcasts, if they're too long, my heart kind of sinks, because I know I'm going to have to stop them and start them again. So what I'm going to do is split this month into two halves, neatly as it turns out, as yesterday was the 15th. And I'll put up a second video of the second half of September. So, exciting things still to come. Trip to Cornwall, going to Brighton with my sister, footage of my sister's dog, little Digby, who you've seen before, who's a little cutie. And, yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this. It's just kind of bits and pieces I've been doing. I'm not the world's best vlogger. I'm not great at remembering to record stuff. I think I'm of a generation where it still feels a bit alien and a bit rude to me, but that's something I've got to get over. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you do, come back for the second half, which will go up at the end of the month. And thanks very much for watching. Take care.